Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Turf Moor. We're just waiting for our referee Dominic Bond to get to this second half back underway. Burnley leading Brentford by a goal to nil. The goal scored by Jakob Brun-Larsen on 9 minutes from the penalty spot after a long VAR check. There were some technical issues with the VAR check before referee deciding that the foul from Sergio Reguilón was not only enough for a penalty, but it's also enough for a straight red card. So Burnley start the second half, a goal up and a man up. Brentford with it all to do, and Burnley straight away on the attack with a quick ball down the right-hand side towards Vitinho. That one is cut out by Roslev and cleared by Flecker, but not particularly far. Burnley can come straight back here with Assignon on the right-hand side. Leaves it now for Cullen. Here's Berg getting towards the edge of the area. Good challenge there from Janelt to win the ball back, and Brentford now trying to counter with Matthias Jensen. He dodges one challenge in midfield before rolling it back towards Zanka Jorgensen, and Brentford just slowing things down in front of their own box. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Tom McGarry taking you through the action. Tom, we were saying in the break, Brentford have got to show a lot more if they're going to do anything to try and upset Burnley in this second half. Yeah,
they need to try and change things up. It's very difficult. They've conceded early, gone down to 10 men inside the opening few minutes of the game, and they've been playing catch-up ever since. They've limited Burnley on the whole to half opportunities, but they need to offer a bit more in the final third. There's no real link between midfield and attack for Thomas Frank's side at the moment. Most of their play has been long balls forward from Mark Flecken or one of the central defenders. They need to try and find a bit more, Brentford, because at the moment Burnley looking pretty comfortable, although you can still see the second bottom of the league. They're edgy and they're there to be got at.
Yes, they are, absolutely. And so we saw a stat at half-time as well. Then in the first half, Ari Buric cleared it long 6 times, whereas Mark Flecken cleared it long 26 times, just showing that Brentford don't normally clear it long. That they do actually like to play out from the back most of the time. But but in that first half, I thought it was needs must for the Bees. They had to try and do something to get that ball away from their own penalty area, as Ivan Toney fighting for it here in midfield, just about gets the ball away, but there was a foul from the Brentford captain, says our referee. Just to remind you very quickly, the 2-11s, it is Ari Muric in goal for Burnley, a back four of Lawrence Assignon, Dara O'Shea, Maxime Esteve and Charlie Taylor. 4 in midfield, Vitinho, Josh Cullen, Sanderberg and Jakob Brun-Larsen, with David Datro Fofana and Wilson Odobert as the 2 up front for Brentford. Mark Flecken in goal, a back 3 of Zanka Jorgensen, Kristofer Ajer and Nathan Collins. Mads Roslev looks like he's now playing on the left-hand side with Onyeka, Jensen and Janelt in midfield, and then it's Visser and Antonio from Brentford are down to 10 men after that red card from Sergio Reguilón. But here come Burnley now with Brun-Larsen getting towards the edge of the area. He fires across right across the 6-yard box. It eludes everyone inside the penalty area before Burnley recycle it here on the right-hand side. Assignon finding Cullen breaking into the box. He couldn't quite get the ball in towards Fofana the first time, and then a ridiculous back heel from Jensen at the edge of his own box, giving the ball away. Great chance now for Vitinho. He breaks into the penalty area, lays the ball back here for Cullen, tees up now for Bjerg. It's with Taylor who goes for goal, and he saw the opportunity to go for goal there, Charlie Taylor, but in the end just off balance a little bit and the strike goes wide.
Yeah, the pass was just taking him away from goal, Taylor, and obviously not renowned for his goal-scoring ability, and he sent that well over the top of the crossbar. But a good start to this second half from Burnley. They were obviously really good at the start of the first half, winning the penalty, scoring the goal. They ended the first half strongly as well, and they've come out quickly at the start of this second. Interestingly, looks like Brentford are already thinking about potential change or two. Keane Lewis-Potter was speaking to Thomas Frank. We've seen Brian Mbuemo on the bench today, Neil Mopay on there. They have options, Brentford.
They do. It's just a question of what Thomas Frank feels would be the right thing now to try and get this game a little bit more in their favour. We're now getting shots at Thomas Frank just geeing up his players there from the side. So he couldn't have been too happy with what he saw in the first half. Here come Burnley again. Nice little touch there from Fofana back towards Vitinho at the edge of the area. Challenge there from Vitaly Janelt, and then it's Matthias Jensen trying to get the ball away. But again, it's a poor touch there from Jensen. He goes straight out for a throw. And so we can see a very animated Vincent Kompany there on the sideline. It may well be that he now just needs to do a little bit more from the side just to show his players that there is some urgency here still.
Yeah, he wants his side to get that second goal, doesn't he? He wants a little bit of breathing room. I think they are playing pretty well at the moment, particularly down their right-hand side. Assignon and Vitinho have combined really well and looked dangerous over the course of this game. Assignon's just won a free kick for his side in a dangerous area. Matthias Jensen's the man who's been penalised, and for me, he's struggled a little bit as well in this game.
He has. I mean, Jensen's actually saying that he got an elbow to the face or an arm across the face there, which he did, but that was after he'd stopped the run from Assignon. And yeah, I mean, I agree that the couple of times there in the last few minutes where Jensen's just given the ball away far too easily. It's a free kick to Burnley now in a decent position, certainly close enough for them to be thinking about getting a quick ball into the box. Cullen and Brun Larsen are standing over it here on the right-hand side. Brentford's offside line pretty much level with the penalty spot as they try and make things as difficult as possible for Burnley to get on the end of this ball. So we'll see whether it is going to be Brun Larsen or Cullen. Certainly seems as though Brun Larsen is the one measuring things up just that little bit more. And he was, but then he leaves it here for Cullen, who then leaves it back for Brun Larsen. A little training ground move there, the cross into the penalty area towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away. It's back on the left-hand side. Now Taylor with a low ball in. It eludes Flecken, but it's played away. I think it was Ajer that got the final touch, clearing it back towards the halfway line. But Burnley have it straight back in. Brentford didn't leave anybody up on the halfway line this time. And it's Cullen now going back towards Muric. A bit more pressing now from Brentford as the players fan out back into midfield here, but Burnley still have the ball and pushing forward now down the left-hand side was Esteve. His pass towards Fofana was cut out by Roslev, and actually it looks like there may have been a foul from Taylor there as he was trying to win the ball back. Yeah,
brilliant ball though before that from Charlie Taylor into the box from the left-hand side after the initial free kick off the training ground. It fooled Fofana in the middle, actually, the Burnley striker, because he was well offside when the ball was delivered. Eventually it came out to the left, and as I say, really well whipped low ball into the 6-yard box from Charlie Taylor, just begging for a touch. It was Fofana trying to get there, but credit to Jorgensen, the Brentford defender, he got a vital touch.
He did. Without that, he would have found a Burnley player there. We were still getting replays of that Burnley chance, and Brentford actually had some attacking possession when we went back to live pictures. It was Ajer that had pushed the furthest forward, but the pass down the right-hand side still made it through to Harry Muric, who then clears it long down the right-hand side, picking out Assignon, being tracked here by Jensen, but Assignon gets away from him, plays it into Odobert. It's about 30 yards out. He's got some space ahead of him, Odobert, but he plays it square now to Bjerg. It's over on the left-hand side. Taylor back to Berg, goes for goal, his strike. I think there was a challenge coming in from Whistle, which might have just deflected that ball away a little bit, but in any case, Brentford get the ball back into midfield. Burnley have it straight back here now with Cullen going back towards Esteve. Berg now on the left-hand side. Closed down here by Johan Wisser. Back towards Esteve. Brentford trying to play as high as they can here to make it difficult for Burnley, but Burnley have come out with a bit more intent in the second half. We can see that, and it's Brun Larsen who goes on the overlap, gets the pass from Taylor, then he lifts across, which is just a little bit too high for anyone inside the penalty area. Vitinho trying his best to keep it alive, and then Jensen just plays the ball away straight back to an opposition player. And here come Burnley again now. Taylor breaking into the box. Pass towards Brun Larsen is cleared away, and now a chance here for Brentford potentially. It's with Ajer down the right-hand side. He's over the halfway line. He's got some space here. Ajer tries an early ball to pick out Ivan Toney, but there's a header from Dara O'Shea, which gets the ball away from Ivan Toney. He's doing his best now to force it to go out for a corner kick, which it does. Brentford have a corner kick, and Toney turns straight away to those travelling Brentford fans.
Yeah, acting as cheerleader there, Ivan Toney, after doing some really good work to make sure that went behind for a corner. We saw Thomas Frank trying to gee up the travelling Brentford supporters as well, as he made his way back onto the pitch or into the technical area after the half-time break. So they're just trying to get themselves going, Brentford. It's been flat so far. Circumstances has dictated that, but they've got this opportunity from the corner.
They do. It needs to be a good delivery here from Matthias Jensen. So all the big men will be up here for Brentford, that's for sure. They're just waiting at the edge of the 6-yard box. We've got Nathan Collins trying to get as close as he can to the goalkeeper. It's Jensen's ball in. Muric comes out with the clearance. It's played back in by Roslev. It's not the best ball from Roslev, in fairness. Easily cleared by Odobert. And then Fofana and Odobert going for this, trying to go on a quick counter for Burnley. There's a clash of heads in midfield. Don't think the referee's going to give a free kick, but he's going to be obliged to stop play here just because a player from both sides is down.
Yeah, Roslev certainly looks like he's taken a whack in the face. I'm not sure if it was a little bit clumsy or he slipped. Yeah,
he's bleeding as well.
Might be an arm from Fofana as he's falling that just catches Mads Roslev. Yeah, certainly this will be a bit of a delay, so that there can be some treatment received for the Brentford left back as we look at from the corner that preceded that coming together. A bit of a wrestling match between Fofana and Jorgensen in the penalty area.
It is. I mean, as I say, you see that in the league every week, and referees tend not to bother on. I think it was the Manchester derby earlier this season where we saw that sort of push or that sort of pull in the box given. But here we can see there's no intent from what happens from Fofana here. Fofana's going for the ball. He's got his leg up, and just as he's got his leg up, it's Roslev. I think he actually gets caught by Fofana's shin guard, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's a little nudge from Roslev which sends Fofana off balance. His left leg goes into the air, and yeah, anything from the knee down really could have caught Roslev in the chin as the two players fell to the ground. Nothing really in that, and yeah, it's just an unfortunate incident for Roslev in particular.
Goodness me. Well, what we're seeing now is Neal Maupay is on the bench for Brentford. He's not getting close to even coming on, but there seems to be a little bit of something going on there with a couple of the Burnley substitutes, and he's actually getting a bit of a telling off now from his own manager there, Neal Maupay. But it looks to me like it was Goodmanson, I think. Goodmanson and the other sub there for Burnley. It looked to me like it might have been
Brownhill, I think
it was Brownhill. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was Brownhill and but they certainly took exception to something that Maupay had said there.
Yeah, we kind of saw the after effect of that, didn't you? Where Thomas Frank was trying to act as peacemakers. I mean, Neal Maupay has been in the headlines for that kind of thing over recent weeks and months. Something will probably come out of that after the game. But in the meantime, Mads Roslev is still receiving some treatment. I wonder if he might be the player who's going to be replaced as well. Either it's enforced or this might have been the tactical alteration Thomas Frank was thinking of anyway. He was certainly thinking of bringing Keane Lewis-Potter on.
He was, yeah, he certainly was. I mean, just seen Craig Bellamy, one of the Burnley coaches there, having a bit of a conversation there with Ivan Toney. Looks like there's no issue there with him or with the fourth official. Might just be that Neal Maupay, who does have being a wind-up merchant as one of his specialist skills, that's certainly true.
Neal Maupay and Craig Bellamy would be an interesting wind-up off, if you like.
Yeah. Well, trying to think what would happen if the two of them were in the same, obviously different age groups, but if they were in the same team at the same time, that really would be a nightmare trying to get those guys in check. Neal Maupay still trying to work out exactly what the issue was there. I mean, certainly some of the Brentford players that perhaps would have felt as though the way Zanka Jorgensen was being held, it could have been. You could argue it's a penalty, but the trouble is you see that so often, and it's the way in which players are tussling for the ball that the officials sort of turn a blind eye to. You're not supposed to do that, but everyone knows that it happens in every set piece pretty much.
Yeah, it's one of those. If you're a defending team, you certainly don't want to see those penalties given against your side, but you're going to ask the question if it's going for your team. It's one of those as well. I've been thinking this really since the penalty was given to Burnley and the red card in the third minute. Is that the kind of decision that potentially referees inadvertently might look to even things up if there's a 50-50 call later on?
Well, you'd like to think that doesn't work that way, but we know that it does. Referees aren't supposed to do that in-game management to that extent, but we know that they do. We know that Mike Dean has admitted in a podcast that sometimes VAR won't even send the referee to the monitor because it might put too much pressure on the guy and stuff like that, which isn't really what we want to see. But Brentford look like they're making a double change here. Keane Lewis-Potter and Yeko Yarmoliuk are both getting ready to come on. So it's going to be a double change in midfield unless Lewis-Potter's going to be asked to play in that Roslev position out wide. Wait to see exactly what Thomas Frank has in mind here, but we're going to get a bit more injury time at the end of this second half as well as a result of this. Roslev has gone off the field. He's still got a little bit of it's like some sort of bandage or something just to try and stop the bleeding there on his chin. But now we're going to see this change if our fourth official can get his board to work, and the first change is going to be Frank Onyeka. He's off to be replaced by Yeko Yarmoliuk. That's pretty much a like-for-like swap in central midfield. Now wait to see who is going to be replaced, who Keane Lewis-Potter is going to replace. Is he going to come on here for Roslev, or is he come on for someone else? He's on the field now, Lewis-Potter. We didn't unfortunately see the board go up when he was getting ready to come on. But yeah, he's certainly had a little bit more joy in the last few months. Lewis-Potter struggled really last season to get any kind of form. He's been in the side a little bit more. Confirmation, by the way, that it was Mads Roslev that went off.
Yeah, so yeah, double change. A more attack-minded player playing as a kind of hybrid left-back, you'd imagine, Lewis-Potter for the remainder of this game. And as you say, Yarmoliuk on in the middle of the park, fresh legs. And we mentioned they needed something different in the middle of the park. That's where they've not really been winning their battles at Brentford. Well,
here come Burnley now with a bit of space down the left-hand side here for Taylor and Brun Larsen. It's now played back into the middle for Josh Cullen. Cullen spots space here down the right-hand side for Lawrence Assignon. Back to Cullen, first time ball into Odobert, a bit of a heavy touch, but he actually uses that to get into more space. He breaks into the penalty area, then he tees up Ajer, who's about to pull the trigger. He was stopped by Johan Wisser actually at the edge of his own box before a second effort was charged down, and Brentford just about cleared their lines.
Yeah, what I've noticed with Brentford in this second half, in the first period it was more Tony dropping off and Visser leading the line as the out-and-out centre forward. They seem to have swapped round a little bit now as a long ball over the top from Muric, the Burnley goalkeeper, almost got a player in claret and blue, Brun Larsen in behind, but out of his goal there was Mark Flecken to sweep away the danger.
He is, but again, it's a poor ball out from Ajer. It's a combination of not particularly good pass and also not looking where his teammates were when he tried to get that ball forward, and Burnley have now capitalised with Taylor down the left-hand side. He leaves it for Fofana. Berg now back into the middle for Cullen. He's about 30 yards out from goal, being closed down there by Wisser, so he goes back towards Dara O'Shea. But Burnley trying again now down the left-hand side. Taylor in towards Berg. Just outside the penalty, has an overlap here from Taylor. It's Taylor's ball in, which is charged down by Kristofer Ajer, and it's away for a Burnley corner.
Yeah, he's trying to whip it in low with pace again, Charlie Taylor. It's not the worst idea, but blocked away at source. And just wonder if Burnley can move this a little bit quicker in the final third. They've seen a lot of possession, but it's taken them a long while to try and engineer these openings, and they play a little bit higher tempo. I sense they get a little bit more joy.
Going to be a short corner here, taken towards the edge of the penalty area, and then some space in now for Vitinho. But as he tried to dance away from Jensen, he ran straight into him, and now Jensen plays the ball forward, and Keane Lewis-Potter is over the halfway line, and he's through for Brentford here, getting towards the edge of the area, trying to go it alone. He goes for goal. There was an option to try and pass to Johan Wisser, but he was being well marshalled there. I think it was Vitinho coming back with him, just making it difficult for Lewis-Potter, and there was no issue of offside, of course, because he got the pass inside his own half. But I'll get Tom's thoughts on that in a second, because Burnley coming straight back up the other end. It's Berg now over towards the right-hand side, and there's space here now. Assignon plays it in for Fofana, tucks it past Flecken, and it's into the back of the net, and Burnley are 2 up on 62 minutes. It was too easy, really, after Brentford had a counter-attack. I don't know where all the Brentford players disappeared to, but it just seemed like a long ball to the halfway line, and the Brentford half was completely exposed.
It was, and it's a brilliant goal from a Burnley point of view. Fofana, who missed that glorious opportunity in the first half, he'll be feeling a whole lot better about himself now. But seconds earlier, Lewis-Potter denied by a really important challenge by Vitinho in one penalty area after Vitinho had made the mistake to give the ball away. But Burnley played their way out from the back, deep inside their own half, 3 or 4 passes. They're up towards the halfway line, and they move it out to the right-hand flank, where there's a lovely weighted ball played through by Odobert to Fofana, who's onside, and it's all about, he's coming away from goal. Does he have the presence of mind to provide the finish? And he does. He just lifts it ever so slightly over the outstretched right leg of Mark Flecken and into the back of the net. It's a brilliant finish from Fofana, and Burnley will feel on the balance, particularly at the start of this second half, they're worthy of the 2-goal lead.
It's a very confident finish as well from Fofana. The fact he doesn't just smash it, he doesn't lace it, he just puts just enough precision on there, and you can see how delighted Vincent Kompany is with that. It's been a very, very difficult season for him, because Burnley did so well last year. They had such a very sort of easy style of play. They were building something. Just seeing that documentary on Burnley, it always seemed like the owners and the manager were really sort of working well together, and it just seemed a lot of that was lost at the start of this season. I mean, let's have it right. Burnley could win this game and still go, and are still likely to go down, but at least it's, from Vincent Kompany's point of view, it's important that this side have shown some fight today. Yeah,
they'll be moving if they win this, if they hang on. And remember, they did concede or let a 2-goal lead slip against West Ham last weekend, so they're not home and hosed just yet, but they'd be on 17 points. They'd be 8 points adrift of 17th placed Everton. With Everton and Forest still having those potential points deductions hanging over their heads, you know, you can't completely rule Burnley out.
No, you fight until mathematically you can't stay up, and even then you should carry on fighting, because as you say, there may still be some shenanigans with the points deductions after the end of the season as well, which, as I say, we could go off on a long tangent about all of that, but we won't do that, of course. We'll just get back to the action here. 64 minutes gone, unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. Burnley 2, Brentford 0. We did see Shandon Baptiste being readied by Thomas Frank. I don't think he's on the field yet, because Matthias Jensen needed a quick check with the physio. He's back on the field now, but it may well be that Jensen's the one being considered for a change.
Yeah, and again, that wouldn't surprise me too much. It's been a bit of a toil for Jensen in this game. He's not the only one in Brentford blue that has struggled. So yeah, maybe Baptiste coming on could be a change that the Thomas Frank looks to make. There's Brian Mbuemo on the bench. How fit he is? Can he come on? We've seen Neil Maupay on the substitutes bench as well for arguably the wrong reasons at this moment in time. But there's still options there for Brentford. But it must be such a relief for Vincent Kompany. This second goal just gives him and the Burnley team a little bit of breathing room.
It does, yeah. I mean, even if Brentford were to score now, and they've not looked likely to score in this second half. I mean, they had that counter-attack just before Burnley scored themselves to potentially do something. I mean, looking at that, we didn't really have much of a chance to analyse that because, of course, Burnley scored almost immediately afterwards. But potentially, maybe Lewis-Potter could have looked to play it into Wissa. But once he'd run half the pitch himself, you're always expecting him to go for goal himself, really.
Yeah, and I think in fairness, the pass was probably getting blocked off as the closer he got to Ari Muric's goal. There were enough defenders getting back, and he's got to give credit to Vitinho making up for his own mistake and getting back and putting the challenge in. Lewis-Potter just wasn't quite quick enough to get away from him.
No, and as I say, Brentford have lost to Sheffield United away this season. They're looking odds-on to lose to Burnley as well. Not many sides can say they've lost to both of those teams this season. It's an indication of how difficult things have been for Brentford on the road this year. As Josh Cullen now in possession for Burnley, in towards Assignon, down towards the left-hand side. Now Taylor getting towards the edge of the area. His cross wasn't meant for Bryn Larsen, but he takes it on the run. He sets up Berg, who tries to go for goal himself. It was a bit of a heavy touch from Berg, but just as Brentford were looking to get the ball away, Ajer is dispossessed and Burnley still have a chance. It's Assignon at the edge of the area looking to get a shot away. He's been stopped here by Jensen. He's got an overlap there from Vitinho. The ball somehow reaches and Vitinho shouldn't have been able to have that chance, and then it teed up for Odobert, but his effort is not a good one. It's straight down the middle, and it's an easy save in the end for Flecken. But Burnley perhaps guilty of not using that enough. I mean, it was an easy giveaway. I think it was Lewis-Potter that just gave the ball away to Vitinho. Yeah,
they're looking confident though. Burnley still not creating an awful lot in terms of clear-cut opportunities. Just looking at their record coming into this game on home soil, they'd only won once at home in the league all season. That was the 5-0 thrashing of Sheffield United before Christmas, but only 5 points from 14 home games going into this one. To say they need a home win, it would be a bit of an understatement.
Well, yeah, I mean, looking at that same stat you've got there as well, but Sheffield United have only won twice at home this season, and one of those wins was against Brentford as well. So it just shows you it really hasn't been good. And second half possession, 76% to 24 in favour of Burnley. Vitaly Janelt, in the meantime, has picked up a yellow card. A bit of a petulant foul there in midfield, a bit of a petulant response as well from the German midfielder. He's just tried to stop Fofana there. Not too much malice in from Janelt, but then there's no attempt to play the ball either.
No, the contact's minimal, but he knows what he's doing there. He's stepping across, and when Fofana's darting infield like he was at pace, any kind of contact's going to take him over, and Janelt is aware of that. Brentford need to hang on in there now. They can't afford to lose their heads and get frustrated, as Muric is 10 yards inside the Brentford half taking this free kick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seem to remember going back a few years, it was always Tim Krul that took those direct free kicks for Newcastle from a long, long way out. But that's, even by his old standards, that really is something. He was almost like a midfielder there, Muric, the way he took that. But the ball was cleared by Brentford towards the edge of the penalty area. It's bouncing around here, and it gets to Bryn Larsen. That's a lovely touch. Odobert, and it's got to be 3. It's a let-off for Brentford because that was a lovely touch. Fofana into Odobert. It looked like everything was set up for him to get a goal this afternoon, but the strike is wide.
Yeah, it looked like Fofana was returning the favour to Odobert, who set Fofana up for the second goal. He's breaking through Wilson Odobert, and he's going to strike it with his left, and it hits his right before he does, and he slices it horribly wide of the target.
Yes, there's a bit of a let-off there. Burnley getting ready to make their first change of the afternoon. Looks like it's Zeki Amdouni who's going to be coming on here, and it's going to be for the first goal scorer, Bryn Larsen.
Yeah, I think Bryn Larsen's done a decent job on that left-hand side of the composure he showed taking the penalty after having to wait 5, 6, 7 minutes to step up and take it, and it's a brilliantly stroked penalty into the corner. But he's had a decent game, gets a hook from his manager. Yeah, Amdouni coming on in his place. He'll probably go up front, won't he, alongside Fofana, and you'd imagine Odobert will move further out wide.
Yes, that's most likely to happen. I think Amdouni can play in that wide role, but Odobert is better as a winger. Amdouni is better as a forward, so it would make a lot more sense for those two to switch. And just looking across at the other game, no change that we can see. It's still Luton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. which is a scoreline that actually probably will suit Brentford. So it just means that Luton, that's a little bit further away from Brentford. Had Luton won this afternoon, and it could have really closed the gap. But we're coming up to the 70-minute mark here. It is Burnley 2, Brentford 0, and it will be Tom to take us through to full time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. Are Burnley going to get just their second Premier League home win of this season and just boost those hopes of potentially mounting a great escape? Fofana has it, strikes towards goal from the edge of the area. He scored from that kind of range in spectacular fashion against West Ham last weekend, trying a similar effort. He certainly got the same amount of power, but none of the accuracy, unfortunately, for him. And Burnley went way over the top of the crossbar. But he's got a smile on his face, and unlike in that game in East London 6 days ago, Burnley look like they're playing like a team that feel like they could win this, helped by the fact that Brentford are down to 10 men.
Brentford are down to 10 men. Brentford haven't really shown much fight, or any fight really, in this second half. It's got to be said that whilst things might be a little bit against them in terms of the penalty and the red card in the first half, that doesn't change the fact that they could have a little bit more grit about them. Just not been able to really get into the game. It's a long ball down for Ivan Toney. He should be winning his side a corner kick there, and he does. Yeah,
O'Shea coming across with the challenge, and when it's not going for you like it hasn't been for Brentford in this game, they can't seem to get themselves going as a collective. If they can muster an opportunity from set piece, somehow get a goal back, then the jitters would start going around at Turf Moor. And it's not completely over just yet. Brentford need, though, to first carve out an opportunity and then take it. Toney will be the most likely player in blue to do that, and he's making his way into the penalty area for this Matthias Jensen corner. It looked like he was going to take short there for a second, but I think he's fought better of it. Jorgensen, Ajer, Collins all forward from the back as well for this right-footed in-swinging delivery. Out comes Muric to the edge of his 6-yard box. Gets good distance on his punch, the Burnley goalkeeper. Still bouncing around the edge of the area, and there's a volley towards goal there by Nathan Collins. I think the referee had blown for a free kick before that anyway, so it wouldn't have counted, but the volley was on target, and not a bad effort with certainly in terms of technique.
He put his foot through that one, did Nathan Collins. It was a bouncing ball at the edge of the area, headed up in the air, and I think it was this shove in the back there from Collins himself, actually, I think, or there might have been one from Toney just in the middle of the penalty area. In any case, one of those two was just a little bit too much for our referee.
Brentford have got the ball back, though, and they're looking to break forward. It's Yarmoliuk through the middle of the park, moves it out to the right-hand side, where cross comes in from Ajer. It's brought down by Jensen, held on to Toney, corner of the box. He lifts it towards the far post. He was looking for Johan Visser, but too much loft on that, and Muric had read the situation, comes out and outclaims convincingly Burnley's standing goalkeeper today, making his first Premier League start of the season.
Making his first start of the season, and say if he keeps a clean sheet, then I think Vincent Kompany would struggle to drop him after the international break.
Yeah, I think he's played quite well, really. He hasn't been tested enough, and there was that one moment in the first half where there was almost the calamitous own goal from Dara O'Shea as Amdouni strikes towards goal for Burnley at the other end. His first involvement since coming on, showing plenty of confidence, and he caught that nicely, but it was straight down the throat of Flecken.
It was. Just to remind you, of course, international break next weekend, so there won't be any Premier League games. When we come back Easter weekend, Burnley are away to Chelsea. Then they're at home to Wolves in a midweek game before they travel to Everton in a massive game. And then it's Brighton at home in mid-April, whereas Brentford's next few fixtures after this international break, they're at home to Man United, then at home to Brighton before they travel to Villa, and then they're at home to Sheffield United. So games where both of these sides will need to pick up some points after the international break.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really crucial period in the season. We'll be into the run-in, technically, I suppose, or certainly ticking towards the run-in after the March international break. Fofana has it for Burnley. We're looking to go into that break with a rare win under their belt. Fofana finds Sander Berg, who works out to Taylor. Time and space on the left-hand side. Cross into the box, headed towards goal by Amdouni. And at full stretch there, just about getting hold of it, was Mark Flecken.
Yeah, it was one of those where Flecken had to watch it until the very last moment because there was just a little bit of loft on this header from Amdouni, but at the same time, Flecken in the end, just with a slight jump, never really had to dive towards that. And Amdouni, as good a header as it was, it's going to be take quite something to beat a goalkeeper from there.
Yeah, had the accuracy to trouble Flecken potentially, but just didn't quite have the power. The goalkeeper had plenty of time to get across and was always in control of the situation as he moves the ball out of his penalty area before lofting one of those long kicks forward onto the head of Ivan Toney, who flicks on and takes a bit of a whack for his troubles. No free kick though, although there is a foul now by a Burnley player. Vitinho has brought down Matthias Jensen, so it'll be a free kick to Brentford. Just over 15 minutes of the 90 left to play. We're bringing you unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary of this Premier League clash. Burnley leading at 10-man Brentford by 2-0. Brentford went in that stage where they've really going to have to get a goal quickly if they are to mount a comeback in this game, and got an opportunity from a deep free kick.
They do. I say it's not much contact with Ivan Toney's head there. I think the free kick was given for that, but perhaps the reaction there from the Brentford captain that did a lot. This long ball now into the box.
Yeah, Jensen with the delivery into the area, headed away by Sander Berg. Flick from Fofana, doesn't quite come off. Cullen can't get hold of it. Visser now for Brentford, out to the right-hand side, crossing position for Jorgensen. Probably not the player that Brentford would want in that situation. He manages to lay it off though, and it's held into the penalty area by the foot of Yarmoliuk, but cleared away by Steve, and out for a throw-in to Brentford. A potential long throw opportunity for Matthias Jensen. We haven't seen many of those, particularly in this second half, but he's going to dry the ball and try and hurl this into a dangerous area where the likes of Ajer and Toney are waiting for the ball. Ajer, probably the tallest man, or one of the tallest men in that penalty area, waiting for this long throw from Jensen. There is an option from Lewis-Potter of a short, but no, it will be hurled in there by Jensen. Flicked on at the front post by Jorgensen. It breaks now. Oh, almost broke to Jorgensen in the area again, but two Brentford players almost got in each other's way, and now there could be a counter-attack on Amdouni, trying to release Odobert in behind. There's an important touch in and amongst that from a toe of a Brentford player. Yarmoliuk getting back, and he turns it out of play for a throw, which Burnley have taken quickly, too quickly, says the referee. Or has he potentially given a foul for it? No, I think they might just stop this for maybe a substitution.
I thought it, but I can't really. The referee is just waiting here, but what can this be for? I mean, didn't seem there was anything. Well, it looked like it was a very brief VAR check there from Dominic Bond. No, he didn't go to the monitor, but he was just waiting in the middle of the park, not allowing this throw to be taken. But now Burnley can take it.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. I'm not quite sure what the referee was trying to do there, but maybe Burnley's turn to look to send a long throw into the box. Assignon has the ball in hand. Looped delivery towards the front post, easily headed away though off the head of Ivan Toney, back in his own penalty area doing his defensive work. He hasn't had much of a chance in this game. Ivan Toney, one effort towards goal that drew a save from Ari Muric after Burnley had almost conceded a comical own goal, but apart from that, and in particular in the second half, Toney hasn't even had scraps really to feed off in the final third. Burnley looking to keep the pressure on. Assignon, right-hand side. His pass is intercepted by Jensen, who feeds a good ball forward to Visser. Visser can't quite get it under control. Esteve steps in, and Burnley have possession once again as Brentford are preparing a flurry of substitutions over on the far side. It's Odobert for Burnley. Can he run at Kristofer Ajer? Ajer stands his ground. Odobert tries to go the long way round and can't do so. Out comes Flecken and gathers the ball, but there's at least two substitutions being lined up by Brentford. In fact, no, 3 substitutions, and Buemo is coming on. Mope is there as well, and the third change would appear to be Shandon Baptiste.
Yeah, so it's a central midfielder and 2 forwards coming on, and Baptiste, although he can obviously do the holding role if required, he's more akin to getting forward really if he can get the opportunity. So these are definitely 3 attacking changes here from Thomas Frank, and you could arguably say that maybe they're 15-20 minutes too late. Yeah,
they're not getting much time, are they, to influence things. Little over 10 minutes of the 90 remaining. Maybe in the case of Mbuemo, it's to do with how much minutes he has in the legs after an injury layoff. And there is a Brentford player down now.
It is. That looks like it might be Vitaly Janelt, so potentially there's going to be an enforced change now with Baptiste having to come on for Janelt. He's a bit unlucky there. He's gone for just to try and sweep up a ball in midfield, and as he's jumped for it, he's actually bumped into Josh Cullen, which has caused the problem. But for the time being, it's going to be Matthias Jensen to go off. He's one of the substitutions here, one of the players being replaced. Wait to see exactly who's officially come on for him, but it looks like it's Neil Mope is on for Jensen. So Thomas Frank is already trying to sacrifice one of his midfielders here. And we're also going to see Vitaly Janelt with a yellow card. He's replaced by Shandon Baptiste, and he's also got a bit of an injury there after that last collision with Josh Cullen. So Brian Mbuemo coming back after a long injury layoff. This will certainly be great news for Brentford fans to see him on the field, and he's on to replace Johan Wissa.
Yeah, Jensen, Visser and Janelt replace Baptiste, and Bumo and Mope are on. So the final throws of the dice, if you like, from Thomas Frank to try and get Brentford back into this game, trailing as they do Burnley by 2-0. Although that's a mistake. Muric has sold O'Shea short, and there might be an opportunity. Mope looking to get Mbumo in behind, the two substitutes combining, but the assistant referee has raised a flag, and Neil Mope has been given as offside. Almost though an immediate impact, and now Ivan Toney has more forward options around him in the final third, and fresh legs as well in Mbumo and Mope.
I just wonder, has that been given as potentially as a foul on Toney there? I think he was in a bit of a scuffle there. I think that in the end he was a little bit unhappy there with the referee. But it may well be that the decision was given as an offside, but it looks to me as though, I think Mope potentially was a yard or two offside there, but it was very, very close.
It was, and that could have been given as a free kick, but I suppose at the very best it would have had to have been pulled back for the foul. They couldn't have played the advantage, Brentford, because Mope was almost certainly offside. But bit of a talking point as Sanderberg brings the ball forward for Burnley down their left. He's going to need a bit of support. He gets it and plays a good ball into Odobert. Cullen, always with Odobert again, but once more his touch lets him down in a dangerous area. It comes to Amdouni now, edge of the area. He can't get any change through the middle of the Brentford midfield. Nathan Collins is coming away with the ball. He's then fouled. Free kick, and he's not happy with the challenge on him, Nathan Collins, and the referee agrees with him. He's going to give a yellow card to the player in claret and blue who is a judge of the guilty party, and it is Zeki Amdouni.
So the Burnley substitute Amdouni picking up a yellow card as he's trying to stop Collins getting away. There's not too much malice there from Amdouni, but then he doesn't get the ball either, so it's always a risk when a centre forward tries to do a centre back's job there.
Yeah, I'll go back to the challenge that came even before the sending off, right at the start of this game, where Jorgensen puts in that kind of challenge. Not yellow card on 2 minutes, on 82 minutes, it is
yes,
a yellow
exactly
card.
Right. You made that point. I think it's a very fair shout. But Brentford have used this free kick, and they've got a chance now with the ball breaking into the penalty area. Oh, it's a strike that's over the bar. It was Lewis-Potter who got the ball set up. Although there has been it was a deflection on it, so it's out for a corner.
Yeah, long ball forward from that free kick from Flecken, flicked on. I'm not even sure if Toney gets a touch, but he causes confusion. Combination play between Lewis-Potter and Brian and Mbumo, and Lewis-Potter. It's a bit of a wild finish, and he's a little fortunate that it's a judge to have taken a nick, and it will be a corner. I think it was going wide anyway, but corner nonetheless. And Mbumo takes it, left-footed in-swinger, punched away by Muric, flicked on by Odobert, but held back into the area. Comes to Toney, who volleys towards goal. It's saved by Muric, who then towers over the top of Ivan Toney. He wants a penalty. Brentford plead with the referee, who's not interested. Play goes on. Collins strikes towards goal. It deflects out to the right-hand side where Mbumo will keep the ball in play. It'll be interesting to see if VAR has a look at that challenge from Ari Muric on Ivan Toney as cross from Baptiste headed towards goal, and it's now somehow ended up in the back of the net, so the penalty decision doesn't matter. The ball has been headed home by Kristofer Ajer. He celebrates, had something to say to the referee incidentally as well as he jogged back, but Brentford have half the deficit. It's Burnley 2, Brentford 1.
Well, the nerves going to start creeping into the home side now. Brentford are just, I think the goal scorer here for Brentford might pick up a yellow card, because I think he had a bit too much to say to our referee, Dominic Bond. He was actually unhappy. I think he was the main protester from Brentford's side with that penalty where Muric had bundled into Ivan Toney. And Brentford carried on playing, and then the ball ends up in the back of the net. But we'll see this strike coming in. I think it was actually from Ajer himself who took the shot from outside the box. And Mbumo keeps it in play on the right-hand side. And not too much to stop him from getting the ball back to Baptiste. And it's a header which hits off one post, goes along the line and flicks off the other post and crosses the line. And Muric never moved for it.
Yeah, it's actually a really good header, isn't it, from Kristofer Ajer? Stooping, glances it towards the far post, in off the inside of the post, ends up going in to the opposite corner of the net. Really good header from Ajer, who's picked up a yellow card for his overzealous celebrations directed towards the referee. But this is going to be a real test of Burnley's character now. They were 2-0 up against West Ham last weekend at half-time, went on to draw that game 2-2. 2-0 up against Brentford this weekend with 5-6 minutes to go against 10 men. If they end up not winning this game, then I don't know what Vincent Kompany's going to do.
Well, I think it's going to be well, just we say that because there's a through ball played and Fofana is 1-on-1. It's straight at Flecken, but the flag had already gone up.
Yeah, he looked like he was a yard or so offside there, David Datro Fofana. But yeah, this game back on a knife edge from absolutely nowhere. Brentford have got themselves back into the game, and that triple change that Thomas Frank made as well, bringing on Mbeumo. Baptiste, who crossed the ball into the box, gets the assist for the Ajer goal, and Neal Maupay already making a difference as the long ball forward from Flecken there is emphatically headed clear by Dara O'Shea. The ball's back now with Mark Flecken on the edge of his own penalty area once again. The Brentford goalkeeper will lift it out to Mbeumo on the right hand side. His cushioned header down for the goal scorer Ajer. Now Baptiste on the corner, he goes to Maupay, who had an attempt of a ball out to the right hand side, didn't quite come off, and then Tony is adjudged to have just leaned a little bit too much into Dara O'Shea and gives away a free kick. Really, really big 5 minutes plus stoppage time to go in this game. Burnley 2, Brentford 1, and yeah, you just sense that Brentford have belief now, and it's going to be a case of Burnley trying to hold on.
Yes, it is, but Burnley don't want to fall into that trap because for most of this game, of course it's easier said than done, but for most of this game, Burnley have been able to keep Brentford further and further up the field and not allow Thomas Frank's side to get into any kind of attack mode. And I think that's what Burnley have got to try and rediscover in these last few minutes. If they start naturally sitting back, then that's going to encourage Brentford to get further and further forward. Yeah,
they've done a good job in this second half, Burnley, of not getting too defensive, helped by scoring that second goal when they did. But now this is going to be a real test of their mentality, you would imagine, as Brentford look to come forward. Ajer down the right-hand side, clip ball forward to Mbeumo, who gets there ahead of Esteve, pulls it back to Yarmoliuk, who in turn will find Baptiste, similar position to a cross for Ajer's goal. It's another decent delivery, and it is a Brentford head that gets to the ball first. Was that Keane Lewis-Potter coming across the front post? It was. Decent header. Muric down to his right-hand side, makes a relatively routine save, but I think he did well actually under pressure with Brentford players coming in to hold on to the ball.
He needed to make sure that he held on to that. It was no good just parrying it because there was, Maupay was pretty much stood over the keeper before he had a chance to properly clutch that one. So he really had to make sure that he made the save, and he did. But Burnley clear it long, and Brentford are straight away trying to push forward. Yeah, momentum really for the first time in this match is with the team in light blue today. Long ball forward towards Mbeumo. O'Shea feels Mbeumo was fouling him, and the referee agrees, so it'll be a free kick to Burnley on the edge of their own penalty area. It'll be interesting to see, won't it, how much added on time is played at the end of this second half. I think we'll get a decent amount with the substitutions. There was that injury picked up to Mads Roerslev as well, so there could be a good while still to go in this contest. Burnley reacting to conceding by making a change. It's going to be an interesting one as well. Looks like David Datro Fofana is going to be replaced, and Lyle Foster, who's just back from injury, South African forward, a like-for-like alteration is going to come on up front. Yeah, that's the problem is that Fofana's now got a goal or two for Burnley. He's found some form, whereas Lyle Foster, who was a big part of Burnley's promotion last season, has really struggled in the Premier League. There have been injury problems as well, but he really has struggled to bed down in the Premier League. So he's going to get a few minutes now to perhaps catch Brentford out with a third goal just to really wrap the points up. But meanwhile, we have got a second goal at Kenilworth Road. We have, and it looks like this one is going to stand. Luke Berry has scored for Luton in the 90th minute, a crucial equalising goal potentially in the relegation battle. It is Luton 1, Nottingham Forest 1, as Odobert for Burnley, cross from the left-hand side, deep towards the far post, not effectively cleared away by Lewis-Potter. It's picked up by Vitinho, who's too strong for the Brentford substitute, drifts on his left foot, strikes towards goal, blocked by Collins. The loose ball will break to Brian Mbeumo on the Brentford right, but he can't find a teammate, and that goes out of play for a throw. So Luton 1, Nottingham Forest 1. This really makes Burnley holding on to this lead even more important for them because, as I said, they'd move on to 17 points, but they'd still be 8 points off the getting out of the relegation zone, but it would keep both Forest and Everton close to them, the two sides potentially at risk of picking up points deductions. Yes, and as I say, that's still going to throw a real spanner in the works towards the end of the season, you would imagine. And it's the fact that we don't know when that announcement's going to be, when the appeal is going to be heard, if there is any announcement. Meanwhile, Brentford now with a chance to get forward, and Boomer flicks the ball down the right-hand side. Mopé will chase it, but Assignon gets there first. It's a throw for Brentford, level with the edge of the area.
Yeah, into the final minute of the 90. Burnley 2, Brentford 1. That Luton-Nottingham Forest game's a good 3 minutes ahead of this one. So in all likelihood, that will be done before this one is, as Mopé will leave this throw to Zanke Jorgensen, who takes it short to the French forward, gets it back, cross into the box, far too close to Ari Muric, who gathers and does what all goalkeepers do when their team are hanging on to a slender lead. He falls to the ground and tries to eat away a few more seconds.
Yeah, that 6-second rule becomes more like a 60-second rule towards the end of the game for a goalkeeper, doesn't it? But it's bad planning that from Brentford. I mean, for Zanke Jorgensen to be whipping a ball in from the right-hand side, it's not like he can't do it, but there should be 5 or 6 Brentford players on the pitch, you would imagine, who do it better than him.
Yeah, I think Thomas Frank would have wanted him to take a long throw there. No Matthias Jensen on the field, of course, to do that now, but Zanke Jorgensen does have it within his locker as Sander Berg for Burnley works it out to Assignon on the right-hand side. He's still looking to gallivant forward as he finds Vitinho, who feeds it infield. He was looking for a teammate in claret and blue, but it's been given away, and then almost given away in turn by Brentford. Brian Mbeumo under pressure, but he was being fouled by Charlie Taylor, who picks up a yellow card for good measure. We're into 9 minutes of stoppage.
How is that possible, Tom? We've definitely had more time lost in the first half than we've had in the second. Have they sort of compensated for that a little bit?
Yeah, quite possibly. We've probably had more differing periods of time, stoppages in the second half.
There was the injury to Roerslev. That probably took a good couple of minutes. Then there was the substitutions that happened at the same time. We've had a goal scored. We've had a couple of very brief pauses for VAR. But say, from Brentford's point of view, they're not going to complain about this. But I'm surprised that there's 4 more minutes added at the end of this second half than there was in the first, where I thought there was more time. But here come Brentford now. A ball into the box, which is flicked up in the air by Collins. But that's way too strong, and it's outside the penalty area.
Yeah, I wonder if Nathan Collins is potentially going to stay up as centre forward for stoppage time. He's certainly high up the pitch at the moment. But yeah, 9 minutes of stoppage time. We had 5 in the first half, where we probably should have had 6 or 7. So you're right, Paul. Really, 6 or 7 probably would have sufficed now as well. But we've got 9. So probably the right amount of stoppage time overall from the officials, but not in the way they should be. As Odobert now breaking forward. In fact, he's into the penalty area. Wilson Odobert with an opportunity for Burnley, tried to square it across to the newly introduced Foster and just couldn't quite do so. A really important interception coming in there. I think it was Collins coming across, back in his own penalty area now. Nathan Collins recognising the danger, does a really good job. Odobert, he's a raw talent, isn't he? The Burnley winger. We've seen that today. Sometimes his decision making, his final bit of quality in the final third hasn't been there.
Yeah, it's that usual thing of just having that 1 or too many touches on the ball. He needs to be able to make his decision that little bit quicker, try and foresee what the opposition players are going to do. But on that occasion, once again, just run straight into Collins, and now Burnley have taken a short corner.
Yeah, Odobert has it at his feet. He flicks the ball into Amdouni. Amdouni inside the penalty area, looking to tee up Vitinho. Wasn't the best ball to him. And now Brentford can break clear on the counter-attack. It's Mbeumo on the right-hand side. He's got Mopé in support down the right. He's got players running through the middle as well. And Mbeumo still carrying the ball, tried to play it out to Mopé. Important block in now off the heel of a backtracking Burnley player. It comes to Tony. 40 yards from goal was he fouled. He was Amdouni, needlessly bringing Ivan Toney down. And this represents a really good opportunity from the set piece for Brentford.
Great chance this for Brentford. It's around 25, maybe 28 yards out, slightly over on the left-hand side. It's a clumsy one from Amdouni. Tony wants that foul. He knows that he's got into a little bit of a cul-de-sac there on the left, and he wants Amdouni to try and do something, to try and bring him down, and the Burnley substitute does exactly that.
Yeah, he's at the cul-de-sac and blocked in by about 3 different cars there, Tony. He's going absolutely nowhere. There's no need for Zeki Amdouni to dangle that right leg and give him the freedom to win the free kick, which Brian Mbeumo is now standing over. We've got just under 6 minutes of the 9 allotted for stoppages remaining in this game. Burnley 2, Brentford 1. Plenty of bodies forward in light blue for Brentford, looking to get on the end of this left-footed delivery from Brian Mbeumo. It's not a bad ball in at all. It's just about flick clear, an important touch from Assignon to get it away. It's held back in from the right-hand side by a Brentford player. In towards Muric. Was he bundled? Yes, he was, says the referee. It will be a free kick to Burnley underneath their own crossbar.
Yeah, now a bit of an injury there on Ari Muric as well. Surprise, surprise. But, yeah, on that occasion, I just thought, you've got to be clever. If you're going to try and distract the goalkeeper, yeah, what Tony did, it wasn't much. but there was just enough to say that he's sort of pushing the back of the goalkeeper with no attempt to play the ball. And in this day and age, of course, even big, stocky goalkeepers have learned how to show the referee they've been fouled as well. So there was always a chance that Dominic Bond was going to see that. As we can now see a substitution for Burnley, it's going to be an interesting one. It's a sub for a sub. One of the biggest sort of I don't know what the word is. It's I suppose one of the biggest insults you can play to a substitute, to take him off. But it's Zeki Amdouni off to be replaced by Josh Brownhill.
Yeah, and to be honest, I understand that from Vincent Kompany. He's on a yellow card. He's just given away a daft foul, really, in a dangerous area that, thankfully, from a Burnley point of view, has gone unpunished. But yeah, Zeki Amdouni replaced on 95 minutes. He only came on in the 69th minute of the game. It is a forward going off and an attacker going, a midfielder coming on in Josh Brownhill with plenty of experience. For me, that's an understandable change.
It is an understandable change, but I do think, as I say, that the fact that he's done what he's done in the last few minutes with that free kick as well. I think it's just probably got Vincent Kompany worried that he might just be a little bit too fired up. And certainly you could have easily taken Odobert off for the last few minutes to bring on Brownhill if you want another midfielder. But it's the fact that, as you say quite rightly, he's just looked a little bit of a loose cannon, I think, in the last few minutes. Zeki Amdouni, and Burnley just need to have calm heads right now.
Yeah, take no risks if you're Vincent Kompany in this situation. Still 3.5 minutes of stoppage time remaining. To the 98th minute of stoppage time at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1, Nottingham Forest 1. The ball in our game is with Mark Flecken, 10 yards or so outside his own penalty area. This has been a theme of the game, Flecken sending the ball long, but this time he goes to Yarmoliuk on the right-hand side, the short option. The Ukrainian brings it over the halfway line and flicks it infield towards Jorgensen. Plays it rather blind onto Collins. His up and under forward is flicked on by Yarmoliuk and might come to Ajer on the right hand side. He's too strong for Sander Berg. Gets hold of possession. Good ball into Baptiste. Drifts it towards the far post. Tony challenging with Muric. The ball ends up in the back of the net. There's the goal being given. Oh, the referee has given a free kick. Another one of those challenges. Tony on the goalkeeper Muric. Referee has given the free kick. At first viewing, you certainly expect the foul to be given, whether it is or not. That's VAR's call.
Well, let's have a look now. This is the first free kick we're getting of this as the ball is hoisted in. Yeah, I mean, I know that Burnley conceded one earlier this season where Trafford was criticised for perhaps not being strong enough and the keeper's got to be tough. Ivan Toney's done a little bit too much there. You always want to have a little bit of benefit of the doubt for the striker in these attacking positions, but what Toney has done is effectively gone right across the body of Muric and then put his arm across the keeper as well. So, although Brentford are surrounding the ref, let VAR check it. I'd be shocked if VAR changed the decision here.
Yeah, he jumps right into the goalkeeper, doesn't he? Tony, the arms across, catches Muric a little bit in the face as well. Free kick, absolutely the right call from the referee, and that has been backed up by VAR. No goal, still Burnley 2, Brentford 1. It means we're probably going to get more stoppage time on top of the 9 minutes that were allocated. We're into the 98th minute now of our game. It's finished at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Not a bad result for these two sides, in truth. That one finishing all square. But are we going to finish in a draw in this one, or can Burnley hold on for only their second home league win of the season? Muric sends the free kick long forward towards Foster. Picked off, though, by Yarmoliuk for Brentford, who tries to find either Mopé or Tony in the final third. Instead, the ball's now broke to Odobert on the left-hand side for Burnley, and he's taking on Shandon Baptiste. Low ball into the box when he maybe would have gone towards the corner flag. He's tried to set up a teammate for a third goal, but his cross has gone into the gloves of Mark Flecken, who will look to get Brentford going on the front foot in the other direction. Long ball out to the left-hand side, cushioned down by Lewis-Potter. Mopé can't get it under control. It'll be cleared away from a Burnley point of view towards Lyle Foster, who's surely offside. The assistant does raise his flag. Free kick to Brentford, 5 yards or so inside their own half. Mark Flecken will come out, and there's only one place this is going.
Yeah, he's not going to take this short, is he, Mark Flecken? He's going to launch this into the Burnley penalty area to try and pick out a teammate. Brentford are desperate to try and make this ball stick. And Flecken's ready now. He needs to get a long clearance on this one. Yeah,
Mark Flecken lifting it up towards the edge of the Burnley penalty area. It's nodded down, comes towards Tony. It just wouldn't break for him. He slides in on the goalkeeper, Muric, going for the ball. Muric, in a lot of pain there, has gathered it. It's probably another free kick. It's one of those, particularly at this stage of the game. Ivan Toney will certainly feel he's entitled to go for that. There's not an over-the-top reaction. One or two of the Burnley players just asking the question of the referee, who is going to his pocket and it is going to be a yellow card for Ivan Toney.
Looking here for Ivan Toney. I mean, I have to say, we'll see. We haven't seen a replay of this yet. I did think the keeper's doing a little bit of this just to make sure that A, he's got a good reason to stay down and waste a few seconds, and B, to make sure that Ivan Toney does get this yellow card. I mean, the Burnley physios are charging onto the field now, but I don't think there's any need for it. I didn't think there was that much contact from Toney. We'll hopefully see a replay sooner rather than later, just to be able to confirm that. And as this free kick was taken by Flecken, it was a long ball towards the edge of the area, flicked on. It's actually a Burnley player that flicked it on. I'm not so sure that Toney makes much contact with Muric there at all. Though, in fairness, the keeper, as Toney's going for it, I mean, the keeper, I tell you what, Toney perhaps accidentally has just caught the top of the head of Muric there, as Muric had the ball. But one thing's for certain, Muric definitely had the ball first.
Yeah, he's got the ball, and I think there is a cut, in fairness, on the top of Muric's head that's going to need to be patched up, maybe even stitched up by the Burnley doctor. So we are going to be going deep beyond the 100-minute mark in this game. Probably another minute to play once we resume after Muric has received his treatment. Toney, he's going for the ball. He's never getting there, but in a way he's got to go for it. At this stage of the game, he needs to try.
Absolutely. I think that it's... You know, you always have to obviously respect your fellow professionals. You're not trying to kick anybody in the head, but, you know, goalkeepers do put their heads where most other players have their boots, so there's always going to be that risk as well for Ajer Muric. But you can see a lot of very nervous Burnley faces around Turf Moor right now. It's to say, this win doesn't get Burnley that much closer to getting out of relegation, but of course if they'd lost today, then it's another 3 points that they didn't gain, and at the same time it's a side that they're potentially trying to catch getting further away from them. So it was really important for Vincent Kompany's side to get the win today. Yeah,
it pretty much, barring a mathematical miracle, guarantees that they won't be bottom of the table going into the international break. I mean, Sheffield United would have to win about 18-0. Well, no, they're not even playing this weekend, are they? So it's a moot point. It means they're 3 points clear as Sheffield United, though, in that battle to not finish bottom, which is the very least that Burnley are battling for. But they will hope and believe they can get back into the spiral race.
Just in the margin, I'll say as well that had Sheffield United been playing today, they would have been away at Old Trafford. So you'd imagine they probably would have not picked up many points there anyway.
Would have been a story, wouldn't it, if they'd scored 20 goals at Old Trafford? But yeah, unlikely, shall we say, as Muric sends the resulting free kick long. He's been patched up in it and is okay. So we're at the referee's discretion now how long we're going to play. We're nearly at the 103rd minute of this, or into the 103rd minute of this game. And Mbeumo down the right-hand side for Brentford, trying to get an across in position. Stands it up towards the far post. There's no takers in light blue initially. Lewis-Potter will keep it alive, though. He's pressed by Assignon. His cross is poor, and it's hooked clear from a Burnley point of view up towards the halfway line, where Jorgensen will try and send it back. It's sliced from him. Get a second bite of the cherry as he beats Foster to the ball, but it drops the way of a Burnley player, Cullen, who's been brought down crudely by Shandon Baptiste inside the centre circle. Will be a yellow card for him and a free kick to Burnley.
Free kick to Burnley. I mean, we've had 3 minutes over the 9 minutes we were supposed to have. Both of us felt that the 9 minutes were probably about 2 or 3 minutes excessive. So really, I think that even with the delays that we've had towards the end of injury time, this is too long now from the referee.
Yeah, it's been a long game. Brentford will be happy that the play is continuing. It still gives them hope, some hope, of getting an equalising goal. But those nails in the Burnley supporters at Turf Moor, I don't think there'll be any nails left on their fingers as they look to hang on to this lead. The ball is with Mark Flecken, the Brentford goalkeeper, but he won't have time to send it long because the referee has now blown his final whistle, and Burnley have done it. Only their second home win of the season in the Premier League. Vincent Kompany celebrates the full-time score. Burnley 2, Brentford 1.